Good evening everybody, this is Adam. Welcome to the Southend Guide Paranormal channel. And a very warm welcome to everybody out there. I hope you, the eagle-eyed among you, spotted the test live stream we did on Saturday night. It's part of the new content that will be coming on this channel, live card readings, and Stella and I have been talking about it, and so we thought, yeah, so that we'll just give it a go, and that's exactly what it did, and it worked really well. Stella and I do work really well together, so yeah, all things being good, you can expect more live streams, more card readings. I might try and get one or two guests involved down the line, but that's for future, and we'll let you know in due course how that goes and what will happen. So moving on slightly to content. Do excuse the traffic that goes past. I do live on a busy road, and unfortunately I haven't got really good. My sound deadening in here is virtually non-existent. So yeah, you'll hear the odd car and probably ambulance go past. I'm just down the way from Southend Hospital, so. Yeah, that's funny goes in itself. I'm going off piece it. Yeah, as we go on content, I haven't managed to get out and record anything new per se. At the moment, I'm just finishing off Kevin Whitaker. I've just done the intro. Those of you that have been interested in those cases may have already seen, probably have already seen the content of Crime Centre Courtroom, Essex True Crimes, and so on. Who've both covered it really well. For my own, for myself though, it's as you will see, Patricia, it's showing a complete picture, you know, start, middle, finish. So you got the start, you'll get the background about what happened and so on, and then you got the middle, which is the investigation myself, and then the end bit, hopefully we can bring a conclusion to Kevin and hopefully bring him some peace as well. So that's to become. Now the main issue at the moment, obviously being January, weather's, as you've seen, is up and down, it's rain, you get periods of dry. So it's a bit of a nightmare trying to nail down an evening where it's dry and we can get out, or the right people can get out and do the necessary investigations. And I've just clocking, I have stuff on a folder of future investigations to do, so it's a case of following up. I've also got emails to go through, which I'm massively behind with, excuse that, from Ian and a few others, and also want to get a conclusion done with the Rettendon stuff as well, because I'm massively behind on that. There's only one of me, you know, I'm very much a one-man band, so you know, trying to split myself into different directions, it's a bit hard at times. So, you know, just bear with and be patient. That's all I can say. So, yeah, that's one of the other things to come up. Now, funnily enough, talking about other new content, I was actually having a discussion with someone in my car the other day about Random Nautica, about how that works. And Stuart, who come up on a live stream on Saturday, actually mentioned Random Nautica, which I thought was quite ironic. Yeah, so I'm going to try and do that as well, because there's a lot of guys that have done it in the States and so on, so it'd be interesting to see what the take is in the UK. You know, and see if there's any difference and how good it is in another neck of the woods. So yeah, you can expect that as well. Again, as what one or two of the guys have said overseas, you really need another person with you to do that. So again, that's going to be something that we'll work in. But yeah, hopefully expect some Random Nautica content in addition to everything else I've been doing. So yeah, that's content. So I've got a few weeks till I start up again, so I've got a little while yet. And got fleet news. As you know, I've got the Saab 95 Estate, my Blue 22 diesel. I have my Saab 93 convertible, that's a 2 litre SE turbo. The Honda Africa Twin, As you know, that was my purchase last summer, and the Triumph, the Thunderbird as well. That's my fleet. I might look to start a new channel purely for vehicle stuff. So I'm having some thoughts on that at the moment. Let me know what you think, whether that'd be a good idea, so I can sort of separate anything vehicle related and just keep one channel purely for that. But yeah, as things stand at the moment, the fleet news is my 9.5, the MOT is due. Well, we're on the 9th, aren't we? So another 9 days. But I dropped it off with my mate last night, who's taking it today. It's promptly failed. I knew it was going to fail. It was just a question on what other problems there were besides the one I know about. Fortunately, it wasn't many. It was a couple of minor things. The main thing that I knew about was the rear shock absorber. Last year it had an advisor in it, was missed in, now it's just gone kaputzi. So, but I was reluctant as it was coming up to MOT to change it, because I wanted to know what else it could fail on. So fortunately it was only a couple of other bits. We're going to do the main bits to get it through the MOT prior, or get it done prior to the MOT running out. And then there's a couple of other bits to be done, which will I'll just have a chat with Al today, and we're going to look to do it in the summer when the weather's a bit more clement, because it involves dropping the tank and some other bits. It's not really an issue, but it could develop into one. But we're going to be right in a minute. Yeah, so that's the 9.5. That'll be due a service as well in April. I'm trying to get on an even keel with the servicing on my vehicles. As I say, that's the 9.5. The 9.3, I can't remember if I've already spoken about this, but I obviously raised the issue that there was an airbag problem, and excuse me, I actually gave it to the sub specialist down in Benfleet. He's been doing wonders with stuff that I can't deal with. The airbag issue is sorted out. He had a spare one from stripping down another pair of seats that he had for his own vehicle. So the airbag issue is gone. There's no airbag light coming up. So the next job to do on the Saab 9.3 will be the front brakes, because I've got a warped disc. So I'm going to need to swap the front brakes out and probably adjust up the handbrake as well. I've got a headlight to change, but I've already got that. So that's where the 9.3 is at. So I want to get that. Once the 9.5 is done, I want to chuck a bit of energy towards the 9.3, get that MOTable, and then we can look at servicing both the cars. I'll probably do a little video on that, but again, that's another thing. Regarding the bikes, as you know, I've had the Africa Twin now roughly 6 months. She's been great. Been up at Whitby, Scarborough, as you know. I've been commuting on it. I've been going to some DJ work in Putney. Yeah, it's been another sort of revelation. It's such a good bike. And yeah, I've not had any problem. I had one minor problem with the left-hand switch gear. Apparently it's a bit of a common fault with them, that some of the rocker switches not always connecting. So I did buy second-hand switch gear, and then I found a bit of squirt at WD-40. They started working again, so I now have a spare switch gear. Hey ho. On a more serious note, regarding my Twin, someone actually tried to steal it from my workplace last week. It was in broad daylight in a busy car park, and a couple of little tow rags tried to wheel it away. Fortunately, there were eagle-eyed staff and passers-by who spotted them, so they were basically prevented from doing so. The downside was that they were sort of 16, 17. They're on one of them e-bikes, you know, very quick, very silent, and they kind of, well, they got spooked, and as they spooked, and they couldn't hold the weight of the bike because she is heavy when you push her. Unfortunately, they dropped and ran. Fortunately, and I'm going to have to give a little bit of praise to Honda. my Africa Twin's got the bash guards, as you've probably seen in photos and previous videos. It's got the crash protectors on it, and fortunately they've done their job. Although she dropped, she's a 240 kilo bike, I think. And obviously she's tall with it. Which, when you're on the move, Honda done a great job of mass centralisation, they call it. So when you're on the move, you do not feel the weight. It's really good in that respect. It's just when you're obviously moving it around, that's when you notice. But when it fell, the crash bars took the brunt of the damage. Unfortunately, there's only a slight. There's a little mark on the bar, and there's also a little mark on the panel where the bar just sort of, hit the side panel. There's a tiny mark on the mirror, and I think on the handguard. But they're all intact, and you'd have to look to see them. But to me, they were a reminder to, it doesn't matter where you put your bike, clock it up. I think I was probably complacent because I've been working there for 6 years, and I've always parked any of my bikes in the same space. And over those past 6 years, they've never been touched. So, and the other ironic thing is I've had other bikes parked there that were much easier to steal. So, yeah, I suppose I was a bit complacent, thinking, oh, she's a big heavy bike. It's not the kind of thing kids are into. They're like nicking the sports bikes and the Yami phasers and that kind of bike. Those that are easy to steal and incognito. My Africa Twin is everything but. As I say, lesson learned. She now gets locked up at work. So yeah, it was a lucky escape for me. I put the word out on social media and various bike clubs that I know, and it seems like these lads have gone quiet, which was a good thing for the other bikers in the area. So yeah, as I say, lucky escape. I've still got the bike, it's minor damage. It's a lesson learned. So that's the Honda, the Thunderbird. I've had it out a couple of times when we have had dry roads. As I've said a few times before, the cam chain is due for a changing. With Al, who's currently doing my car, being so busy with his bike workshop, I've had to sort of be patient and wait for him to get a bit of clearance in there before we could take it in and do it. So I'm just waiting on that now. But so I don't know if it's the cam chain or the guide, but I know from reading forums, the Triumphs of that area around the 50,000 miles mark, which mine has, that's a shed load for a Triumph Thunderbird. Most of them are low mileage, kept in garages, and just you may as well buy an ornament. They beg to be ridden, and they're lovely to ride, and each one to their own. You can buy a bike and put it on the shelf. It's your bike. You do what you like with it. But I like to ride mine. That's why I bought it. I'm not going to sell it on. It's going to be with me until I can't physically ride anymore. So I ride it. I take good care of it. It gets kept clean. Alright, after 10 years now, there's a couple of little cosmetic bits that it could do with. The seat's got a rip in it, which will probably get done later this year. At the moment, I've got more important things to get sorted out, as I've said. Yeah, so the Thunderbird's been out once or twice, not a lot due to the cam chain thing. Hopefully we're going to get her in next couple of weeks, and the work can start on that. It won't be cheap, but I'd say after 9.5 years of ownership, if it's cost me 400 quid for that maintenance to be done, I'm quite happy to another 9 years down the line before it needs doing again. So yeah, in respect, the bike's actually cost me very little in maintenance in that respect. Obviously, servicing consumables are different. Your tyres, your brakes, your chain and sprockets, and so on. So yeah, that's the fleet news. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now. Obviously, due to this being late, obviously I've been to see my stepdad, so yeah, we've had quite a busy start to the new year. There's going to be some more news on the Southend regarding the Southend Shakedown event. that will come up in the very near future. I've just got to tie a few things down with that. So yeah, that was something else I had to deal with. And also the biking fraternity amongst you, or budding bikers. If you sort of live anywhere near London, we've got the XL Bike Show on the, I think it's on the 7th, I think it's the 17th to the 19th of February at the XL in London. Stella and myself and possibly one or two others will be going to that. So if you want to pop down, and we'll be walking around and try not to spend too much money. So if you want to pop down to the bike show on the 19th, that's the Sunday, we'll be milling about. Just come and say hello, have a good chat and all sorts. So right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you everybody for listening to my ramblings again. There will be more ramblings coming up, I have no doubt. So thanks once again for watching, everybody. Love and light to you all. God bless, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.